What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. As you all know, I've been doing this series called Stronger, and it's all about, it's kind of surrounding the fitness goals that I've set for myself this year, which are to build lean muscle, to lose some body fat, and to get stronger. The thing that I've been really thinking more about ever since I started the series with Malcolm is that I want to bring people on this YouTube channel that are specialists in their field, because the truth is I don't have all the answers. And, you know, I have Malcolm teaching a lot of like his knowledge on strength, conditioning, and all that stuff. So I'm so excited to bring you guys along this journey, because now that I'm working with Dr. Cain, I do want to basically highlight her specialty, which is mental health, gut health, so much in relation to really true internal, mental, everything, physical health, a little bit of everything, I would say.
Yeah.
And you are one of the only naturopaths that also, she has a master's in psychology. So I love the fact that you link the two.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very rare.
Yeah.
Like, right? Because I think in, you know, today's medicine, it's very common to kind of want to give the quick fix, but not see the underlying issues.
And so many people want to focus on their systems. So
Yeah.
somebody may say, well, I do the shoulders up, so I'll give you psychiatric medications, but then they have no idea if there's something else going on.
Totally.
In their family, in their diet, in their lifestyle, in their job, there's so many more variables than just here up. Or if you go to a gastroenterologist and they're like, I'm just going to focus on the gut, and then they have no idea what's going on in the rest of the body. And so what I love about what naturopaths do is we look from head to toe. We look at the whole person.
That is amazing.
And it's incredible. Like, every day of my job is incredible. I love my patients. I see the most amazing things, and I'm really delighted that you're going to be doing this.
So amazing. I'm so excited because I do think that there's a missing link between a lot of specialists. Not to say anything bad about people that specialize in their field, but there's always so much more underneath what people experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that a lot of, like in my industry with fitness, a lot of people will experience bad digestion, gut issues. And I believe that a lot of it does have to do with their mental health.
Yes.
And anxiety and things like that cause that. Obviously, you're going to be the expert that's going to really fill us in. Yeah. But that's kind of what I see in a lot of, you know, these different people that have competed and things like that, and that they've gone through these different issues. And one of the things, you guys, that I have been wanting to make my focus this year is, you know, everything in relation to the gut, because even though I eat super clean and I do all of these things that I think are, you know, beneficial for my health, sometimes I still experience really bad bloating, like really, really bad. And even my fiance will be, you know, asking me like, why do you experience these things if you eat so healthy and you work out? So there's always more of an underlying issue, right?
It's important to take that into consideration. And when we look at fitness, you have to think of it as, I use the analogy a lot with my patients, it's like you're driving a race car. And if you want to get your race car to point A from point B, you have to look at the tires, you have to look at the transmission, the spark plugs, like every single piece.
Yeah.
And so if mechanics were like doctors, and the mechanic's like, well, I only look at spark plugs, and then the person's wondering why their car wasn't performing.
Totally.
It wouldn't make sense.
That makes, that's a really good analogy, actually.
Yeah.
But it's so true. So you take the whole car, you break it all down, and you're like, this is what's really going on.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And you're talking about the gut, and that's 100% foundational. Everything goes back to the gut. It's like basically what I encounter. It's your second brain, and the brain is the number one most important thing. It's the motivator. It regulates your hormones. It regulates your neurotransmitters, like all of these things.
Your serotonin. I was reading Dr. Cain. So used to calling you Nicole.
You can call me Nicole.
All right. So Nicole wrote this ebook called Gut Psychology, which I'm super into. And I love, like, the main thing is that so much in relation to your gut, that's where your serotonin is produced, right?
Yes.
So if things aren't digesting properly, and then you're feeling foggy and you're feeling like total BS, then you know, you start feeling like maybe you're depressed or maybe something's wrong.
Yes.
But it's like really maybe there's something going on there. Right?
Exactly. 95% of your serotonin is made in your gut.
95%.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. And a lot of people will be like, well, my mood is fine, but I'm just not performing the way I want to.
Yeah.
And then when you learn more about them, maybe they have the gas and bloating, and it's like, well, it could be that your gut is out of balance and it's affecting your body's ability to perform.
That is so key. I feel like, so we're going to kind of, one thing that we talked about is that we're going to go through at least a few steps to help you identify if there's an underlying issue with your gut, if there's something that you need to get checked, or just in general, you know, if you start feeling some of these symptoms that we're going to talk about, then maybe, you know, you need to do something like get your food allergies tested and do a few other things that are going to help you kind of progress. But I'm going to let you take over. Yeah. What would be the 5 major symptoms that people would be experiencing to know if their gut's out of whack?
Yeah, so a couple of them are really self-explanatory. So, for example, if you're not having good evacuations. So it's like the number one thing. Naturopaths love to talk about bowel movements. It's just how it is.
Poop.
It's like, yeah, exactly.
Let us know how your poop.
Yeah, tell us about your poop. So you should be going every day. And it should be well formed and there shouldn't be blood. So if there's anything going on with that, that's the number one indicator that your gut needs to be balanced.
Okay, would I be able to ask, if it's not too much for the YouTubers, what should it be like?
It should
Is that too much?
No, it's not too much at all. It should be well formed.
Okay.
And it should be like, I don't know, as far as like the volume, like it should feel like you should feel complete when you're done going to the bathroom, and there shouldn't be any difficulty with it. So it should be easy to evacuate, like once or twice a day. Well formed brown. Yeah, totally.
Got it.
Yeah. So I mean, I know we just like went straight for it, but that's such a good indicator on your gut health.
It's like right away. You know, it determines what the foods you're eating too, in a sense, that are actually helping you to get that process, right?
Are you getting those nutrients? Is your body absorbing the water in a balanced way? Super helpful.
Great. Okay, so there you go.
Check your
1.
poop.
Exactly. Check your poop.
Yeah.
Have you pooped today?
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, and then number 2 is the really easy, obvious, like, are you experiencing any gastric upset? So, do you have gas? Do you have bloating? Do you have cramps? When you eat, another one is, do you feel full too easily? Or do you feel like you have a ravenous appetite, but when you eat it, you don't feel good?
Oh my gosh, that's so me.
Yeah.
Yes. I will feel really, really hungry.
Yeah.
Especially for dinner. And then I have a few bites and I start feeling bloated.
Yes.
And it's just probably also in relation to the fact that you know you're sleeping with your man at night. I mean, I'm not saying anything sexual, but just in general, if you're sleeping next to your man, you don't want to feel bloated, right? So that's actually something that is like, ding. Okay.
Yeah. So you check your poop, you feel if you have any abdominal stuff, if you're gassy, if you're bloated, if you feel like too full when you eat. Like, eating should feel good, it should feel nourishing. And so if your body gives you symptoms when you eat, then it's not receiving the food in an optimal way.
Got it. And what do you think about certain vegetables? Obviously, more cruciferous vegetables cause a little bit more bloat and can cause gas. Is that normal or is that not?
I love that question.
Okay.
So that has to do with your body's ability to break it down. Because interestingly, one of the most difficult types of foods to eat are really fibrous veggies. Yeah. So it takes tons of enzymes, it takes stomach acid, and so if you don't have enough of that, if the pH in your gut isn't right, then those are going to make people really sick.
Oh my goodness. And I have heard that a lot of these cruciferous vegetables, obviously we know they're very healthy, but they're also really good for women to regulate your levels of estrogen, right?
You are brilliant.
I mean, I'm not as brilliant as Dr. Cain here. However, I do my research on this kind of stuff and I love it. But that's interesting to know, because if you are getting gas, or if you're getting bloated and gassy, then you're not really digesting it properly. So it's like, are you getting the benefits from that?
Exactly.
Probably not as much, right?
You're 100% right. And that's why cruciferous vegetables, like, they contain DIM and calcium D-glucarate, which process out extra estrogens. So it's super helpful for that. Yeah, you're like so spot on.
Oh, that's
great. I need to be interviewing you.
Oh no, not even. I love that we can talk about this because we can talk about it forever. I'm so obsessed with this. That's why when I met Nicole, I was like, oh my gosh, can I just pick your brain forever? So this is awesome to know.
So exciting.
So that's number 2.
That's number 2. So does your gut feel good?
Yeah. Okay. And then what would be like
there are so many more, but I'm going to do some less obvious ones.
Yes.
Because people are like, okay, well, I'm not learning anything new. Like, okay.
I know. Let's dive into like the stuff that people wouldn't really just know off of Google, right?
Yeah. So another one is if you're depressed.
Oh.
So do you have depression or do you have anxiety? Obsessive compulsive disorder, bipolar disorder, postpartum disorders, oftentimes go back to the gut.
Really?
Yes.
Is it because their gut basically isn't producing or are they not producing the enzymes to digest the food after the birth, or what is that
Oh my gosh.
in relation to?
Everything. So when your body's out of balance,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes, especially when your stress hormone cortisol is high,
Mm-hmm.
it reduces the amount of stomach acid because you're not in rest and digest. You're not in chill out like Caesar eating grapes mode. You're in like stress mode, which is like run from the bear, we got to get stuff done mode.
Oh, yeah.
So that stress hormone shuts down your production of stomach acid. And so if you don't have as much stomach acid, the food is going to sit like a stone in your gut. And then that's going to change the pH of your gut because you have less acid going into that food, into the stomach.
Makes total sense.
And then it goes downstream, and then all of these opportunistic bacteria and candidiasis that live in your colon are like, oh my gosh, we can grow because the pH is now happy for us to grow in. And then, like, I could go on forever.
Yeah, but tell us. I'm so interested.
Don't
I'm like,
stop.
tell us.
Yeah. And I wish we had time for all of this, but we have so many more videos, so people should come back and listen.
For sure.
But just to kind of make a long story short, and we'll dive in deeper next time, is that it causes something called dysbiosis.
Okay.
Dysbiosis is an imbalance of your bacteria in your gut. Then that changes the way that your gut is making its neurotransmitters. So we talked a second ago about how serotonin is made mostly in your gut.
Mm-hmm.
The weird thing is, though, is that your serotonin in your gut doesn't go into the brain. It has a special way of triggering the way the brain makes its own serotonin.
Wow. How's
So
that?
it's called the enteric nervous system.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that stimulates your nervous system and your central nervous system in your brain. And then it'll change the way you make your serotonin, and it can make you depressed and anxious or obsessive or have depression after you have a baby. Spiral.
And it all originated
In
through
the
like
gut.
bad digestion, through the
Mhm.
high cortisol, through
Mhm.
all these like hormonal changes, right?
Exactly. And that's why people who take SSRIs, like Zoloft or
Yeah.
Lexapro, that's
What are
why it
those? Do you mind elaborating a little bit?
Yeah, those
I've
are
heard someone
anti...
mention.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I have no idea. Yeah, you probably like, oh, this is common sense, but I don't know what this is, so it's good to know.
Thank you for
They're
asking.
antidepressants?
Antidepressant medications, so they stand for serotonin selective reuptake inhibitors.
Oh my gosh.
And so that causes a lot of gut upset. So when people take those for their depression or their anxiety, they get gastric upset, and it's because there's so much serotonin in the gut too that's being impacted by the medication.
So let me get this clear. A lot of people will have depression, so they get on these medications, but those medications are making their gut flora and all that stuff way worse. So then they're just getting more depressed and they're never fixing the problem.
Exactly, they don't get to
That
the root
is
cause.
so frustrating.
Yeah.
That honestly gets me. I wish I was in a position
Fiery.
to change it, but I love that you
are
are.
right now.
Thank you.
You are in a
We are,
position.
and the fact that
Yeah.
we're spreading this knowledge, but that's so good to know because I even just told you earlier, I was talking to a friend recently, and she's like, I'm depressed, and she was on a lot of medications last year, and I know that she'll totally get past it, but it's just a matter of, working with someone like you that knows the relation between that and your health, not just dealing with a little Band-Aid that's gonna fix your depression. Yeah. There's always something more behind it. So seriously, if you guys are dealing with some kind of depression, please get some, solid.
Dig.
Yeah, we'll do a video on mental health stuff because
Amazing.
I think that would be so helpful for people that have gone through that or are going through that, right?
That's amazing.
So that's number 3.
It's number 3. We have 2 more.
That's a really good one. That was a really good one because I don't think that that's common knowledge, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
No one will say, "Oh, my gut's out of balance is causing me to be sad." It's just not something we talk about.
Yeah.
But it's almost always, and probably upwards of 95% of my patients, there's something going on in the gut. I had a patient, I was telling you before we started today, she came to me and she felt like this umbrella of just darkness was over her all the time, like clouds, like sadness. She just felt no zest for life. Every day she wished was her last. She's just waiting it out till she could die. And I was like, I'm going to do all these fabulous things for her, but let's just start with the gut. So we did a food allergy test. Yeah. She's ridiculously allergic to dairy. She had super high...
we are.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, sister, I feel you.
Yes.
So she was amazing. She totally took dairy out. And I kid you not, 3 weeks later, she's a changed woman. Her depression is gone. Her energy's better.
So amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
and just from treating an allergy.
All she did is treated her gut.
Wow.
She didn't do anything else. And she'd been looking for her entire life for something. She'd been looking for answers. It's like the easiest case.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful that you're able to help in that way. That's so empowering.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that it's good. Obviously, I love that YouTube exists because there's a lot of people that can't afford to go to a naturopath or, you know, I totally get that.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm super grateful that we're able to spread this knowledge for people that are like, oh my gosh, there's a little light bulb that went off. Let me actually see what the root cause of stuff is.
Or erectile dysfunction or anything having to do with sexual performance, men and women.
Which has to do with your hormones, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So it goes back to what you were saying earlier about eliminating excess estrogen, but cholesterol is important. It's a precursor to all of our sex hormones: testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And so if you have, remember we talked about dysbiosis, imbalance in the gut.
Yeah.
And so having normal gut flora is really important so you can absorb all of your nutrients, including the proper amounts of cholesterol.
Interesting.
So our guts being out of balance will also change how we're eliminating excess hormones. Our guts being out of balance can cause obesity. You have fat cells that do something called aromatization. Your fat cells will turn your testosterone into estrogen. That's why men who are very obese, they get something called gynecomastia.
Yeah. Which is
breasts.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, because they are getting a high production of estrogen.
So this goes back to, and kind of relating it to my industry, like it's so important, not just for aesthetics, but to work out and have good body fat ranges.
Yes.
Because your hormones are more likely to be, you know, intact, I guess we could call it.
Yeah.
Although, obviously extremes are never good. So too, like, little body fat is also going to do the opposite effect where it's going to make your hormones worse as well, right? So you have to be at like a healthy range.
So you have to have enough body fat because, for example, we've seen anorexia. A lot of women stop menstruating because they don't have enough body fat. But then if we have too much body fat, then you can have other issues, especially imbalances in estrogen and testosterone. And then just defaulting is that your gut regulates your hormone system. And so if somebody has menstrual irregularities or erectile dysfunction or a low libido, anything like that, we always start with the gut. And getting that back in target will make a huge difference.
Wow. We talked about wanting to do a video on the foods to eat and not to eat, but also eventually doing a video on, where you had mentioned this, that you wanted to talk about, you know, different foods that actually boost your libido.
Oh, we're going to do this.
We will.
I'm really
Let us know
excited.
below if you want to see that.
Yeah, let us know if it's
That's
worth it.
I know, exactly. That's so great. So that's number 4. So if you have I wouldn't say bad libido. If you have a low libido, that is an indicator that something is up with the gut.
Exactly.
Okay. So number 5.
Energy. So especially relevant to your industry is people want to have a zip behind their step, they want to have endurance, they want to have the energy and the motivation to perform, but then also in your daily life it's terrible when you're laying in bed and you don't have that zest to get up and get out of bed.
I can still say that sometimes my energy dips, and that's something that I've recently spoken to you about, where 3 p.m. hits and the energy drops.
Yes.
And also has to do with the thyroid stuff and a lot of different things, but we'll address a lot more of that, I'm sure. But energy's so important. I mean,
huge.
If you think about it, you guys, if you do not have good energy, you can have the body you want, you can have everything going for you, but if you don't even feel energized to get out of bed and go make things happen, like what could you do, right? Nothing.
Exactly.
I kind of learned that the hard way, because when I used to compete, it was, and a lot of competitors that actually watch my videos, they know this, when you get close to your competition, your body fat is so low, you have no energy.
Yeah.
You look fabulous, but no energy. So I had to kind of learn the hard way, in the sense that I now value that so much more than aesthetics or anything. It's just feeling good. Right?
And my goal for people is to help them get to the health where they can live to their highest potential in a way that is so outstanding that other people look on in wonderment.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that seriously should be the goal for everyone.
Yeah.
In our lives, we truly, I think that we seek all these different things to kind of give us a bit of a high, whether it's looking good, whether it's, you know, getting whatever you want, whatever it is. I'm just making things up. Yeah. But what we truly desire is obviously love and connection, but also feeling good every day. And I think that should be the number one goal, right? Getting your diet, your health, everything on point to where you're just like, you're at your maximum potential.
Yes, absolutely.
Comments, what you would like to see. Appreciate your knowledge
you.
so much. I'm sure that everybody did as well. So please let us know below what you guys would like to see in future videos, because there's going to be a lot more coming.
Yay!
Right?
I'm so excited.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.